and welcome back to a very special episode of Boys Gone Wild. We are in the new studio.
Look at it.
Probably looks quite disappointing, seeing as there's been quite a lot build up to the studio. And it sort of looks like, I guess, like a hostage video would happen here.
Yeah, kind of an ISIS beheading one.
Where it looks like there's bullet holes in the back here.
Yeah.
This isn't the final design of the studio.
We haven't spent months on this.
No.
We've been in for a few days.
Tidied up. This is our friend's shed, but this doesn't want us to call it the shed.
Yeah, I have no idea why, because it's exactly what it is.
But we'll slowly, episode by episode, hopefully this will grow. You'll grow with us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a space. It's
Yeah.
imperfect. Well, it's a kind of a perfect for it. It's nice. It's a nice size.
Yeah.
But we can do whatever the balls we want with it.
We could,
We can
we could do helicopter dicks.
water feature.
We could do bum ramming. Remember
I
bum
meant
ramming?
more with the design rather than the activities we do in there. We could bum ram in our old houses.
Yes, but
there anything?
No one could stop us bum ramming in here.
I disagree.
Yeah,
I
this
think
probably
even more so,
Fine,
it's
that's a
far
bad
more likely
example.
that we'd get stopped bum ramming or helicopter dicking.
What do you think Izzy would be
Because Izzy and her flatmates would be like, I thought you were using this for a podcast studio, not bum ramming.
Well, yeah, so it's kind of a dream scenario where our friend has very kindly lent us the shed, which is great. I guess the downsides is that don't you feel like they don't quite understand what they've let themselves in for? A little bit.
A little bit. I mean,
because they're excited by the idea of it, but they don't
It's
know
fun,
the reality
isn't it?
of us traipsing a different harem of autistic men every week. You know, we've had Pete looking in, we've got Charlie, we've got me.
Yeah.
You know, it's and annoyingly there's not a side entrance, so we are fully walking through their home.
yeah. Well, ideally, it's just one walk in and one walk out,
Yes.
which I can manage. I just worry about you and everyone else.
Yeah. And I think the main thing I think it'll all be fine. The main thing is the toilet situation.
Right, go on. Yeah.
So like we'll get bottles of water for the fridge.
Yeah.
So we won't have to use their taps or anything. We maybe sort ourselves out so we don't have to use their kitchen really.
Yeah.
That's fine. I guess the only non-negotiable is that we will have to use their personal toilet.
That's true. That is the issue.
And if we have a guest on, then there's four men.
And the toilets the toilet is right next to the rooms. It's not like you can pop in via the kitchen. You've got to go downstairs. Charlie's already walked into people sleeping.
That's how I met Steve.
Yeah. But Charlie seems like he comes from a family where, you know...
There's no locks on the
locks on
doors.
toilet doors.
Actually,
You give a real
Do you have
vibe.
locks on your doors, on the bathroom doors in your family home?
Yeah.
We have a superficial lock that me and my brothers share.
What do you mean by superficial?
It doesn't.
What do you
if
mean,
try-
share? Do you think people go around with individual locks? Like padlocks in their trousers that every time they go to use the toilet, they just slip it on?
If you try and
Good
get
chastity
in,
belt.
if you really wanted to get in, you can, and people do. But we share a loo.
We need to talk about the new studio,
Yeah.
but
We need to talk
what do you
about
mean
Charlie.
really want to try and get in?
We share a loo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes, someone will be using it, but the other one wants to like brush their teeth or
Okay, fine.
get stuff, and so they'll ram it open
Bum ram it, maybe.
with their
Yeah.
front ways.
So when we got
Okay.
a producer in, I think the big idea was basically someone so we don't have to really think about kind of non-creative stuff.
Yeah.
To sort of streamline the whole process.
Yeah.
But I think what's happened is we got someone who's more insane than us to be
Yeah.
our producer. We sent Charlie out. To find a skip to
Yeah.
get rid of some of the rubbish in here.
He kind of sent himself out.
Yeah.
I mean, he did find one,
Yeah.
but he kind of went on this venture around East London.
And then on the group chat, after about 2 minutes, there was a video which we could probably get the video up.
yeah, we'll get the video up. Of him in an elderly woman's house.
Say again.
What nationality you are?
I'm English.
You English, well.
Yeah.
I mean, what you call him? I'm from Greece.
You're from Greece?
Yeah.
Nice.
I ran into the Greek old lady in the local offie because I
Oh,
live very
yeah.
near here as well. She also was asking me to read the milk to see when it goes off.
Once you open the door.
Yeah, so it seems like this old lady has come from Greece and has just arrived.
And doesn't have any clue about...
Doesn't have any family or friends here and doesn't speak English. So it's sort of going
Well,
from person...
She's tripping up on some very small hurdles here. Using a plug socket and buying milk from the
Yeah,
office.
I feel the date, you don't need to speak English to know when
Numbers,
the milk... Yeah,
you should be doing okay. Well, she was asking when does it go off?
Yeah.
Nah.
Is there a Greek number?
When I'm
No.
in Greece, I can work out when the milk goes
Yeah,
off.
that's true.
I think. But you've opened the door, both
Yeah.
of you now. And now I'm going to have to go and close it.
Yeah. What's that? What's that? You're
Just
in
being
discipline
like,
now.
look, we've had enough.
Can you leave our producer
Leave
alone?
my 2 autistic friends alone because you're leading them down the wrong track. The studio. So we're gonna, it's not gonna look like this forever.
Yeah.
Relax, don't go crazy. But we can do with it whatever we want because
Yeah.
it's our friend owns this house and therein owns the shed. So we're gonna make it a proper podcast studio, which is exciting. And
You can
you'll
open
see
up
it
for
slowly.
suggestions, but I
Yeah.
feel that
No.
there'll always be terrible suggestions.
Yeah,
I feel
it's pointless. It's pointless. Given some of the questions we get in Q&A, let's just leave it. But yeah, no, we'll make it our own, and you'll
Yeah.
slowly see the progress of it.
Last night, I went to Alfie's dad's memorial, Steve Brown.
Yeah.
And so I was asked to go to this yesterday. Basically, BB had forgot. Alfie, for those of you who don't know, is BB's sister's baby father, right?
Baby
They have-
daddy.
They have 4 kids together, and his dad sadly died
And comedian Anne has been a guest on the podcast.
twice. And she said, "Oh, the memorial thing's tonight."
Yeah.
Fuck. She completely forgot and told me like 3 hours before, "You need to come with me." And I thought it would be like, for some reason, I thought it would be 25 people standing around an urn, all saying nice things. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's
you know what I
a
mean?
well, that's kind of
Or like a quiet reception-y type thing.
a memorial service. It wasn't a funeral.
It was a memorial. So yeah,
It was like, something you put on the local paper, being like, this
Yeah.
person's died. I mean, local
sure. I mean, that's
paper.
what in my head. That's what my head went to.
25 people standing around an urn saying
that's-
nice things. So
And
you
I
you were
felt,
preparing your urn
seeing as
speech.
I'd never met Steve, I thought it was inappropriate for me to go.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was 25 people around an urn. It was 1,000 people at the Savoy Theatre, one of the most amazing
Yeah.
gigs I've ever seen in my life. I had no idea how incredible
he
Steve's
was-
career was. He basically wrote all of any music you've heard in comedy from 10 years ago for
Yeah.
like a 20-year period was written by Steve Brown.
Okay.
Like the Harry Hill theme tune. Would you know that? TV Burp?
Yeah.
You probably would know it if you heard
Not
heard
off the
it.
top of my head,
Yeah.
but I couldn't recite it.
Any music in Alan Partridge is Steve
Oh,
Brown.
yeah, that's
so he just kind of like he's
So
been
he was
around.
a
He wrote
compo-
musicals. Tony Blair the musical. This one called Spend Spend Spend. Would you know that? I don't know.
No, sorry.
So it was one of the most insane lineups because and I think this is quite rare because we were talking about this. I was talking about this with another comedian saying if like one of us died, it would just be loads of podcasters going on. there.
Yeah.
I don't feel people have the same sort of breadth of like.
No.
He was just in a very unique place where he had music, comedy, dancers. It was just such an extraordinary array of different
Yeah.
people. So the lineup, it was hosted by Harry Hill, right?
Great start.
And-
You wouldn't expect him to thrive in a funeral kind of memorial service setting in some ways. His comedy doesn't exactly lend itself to a memorial service.
Well, it was very light-hearted, the whole thing. Remember, this is
Yeah.
it's still Savoy Theatre. People, it's a very like they're putting on a fucking show. It's not.
Yeah.
There's not really any sadness.
There's no sadness.
Not really. They
Well,
kind
that-
of did all that at the funeral.
Yeah, so this is a celebration
It was a
of his
complete
life.
celebration of his work, and there's just fans there who were just there to.
I just heard about it.
Yeah. So Harry Hill, what do you honest thoughts of what do you think about Harry Hill from what you know about him?
Bit silly,
Yeah.
bit too silly probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know he's done stuff outside of TV Burp and
Yeah.
everything, but he always does the Harry Hill character,
Yeah.
really, doesn't he?
And so it
Physical,
feels
silly.
it feels a bit like I don't know, almost hack or like not hack, but just a bit
Yeah,
much.
a bit.
And I definitely had this feeling about Harry Hill. But every comic you speak to is like live. He's one of the greatest acts you've ever seen. And he's
Have you seen
he's an
him
absolute
live?
I'd never seen him live before.
Yeah. Well, I
He
keep
is
seeing him on the bill of places.
fucking hilarious. But I don't want to ruin one of his jokes, but I'm gonna because it's so it's like he's just the silliest guy ever, but it is absolutely brilliant. And he's also
Yeah.
a genius. He like went to Oxford. He's like a brilliant man as well. He had this one thing where he pointed at someone in the audience, said stand up, and he says, say quack, and then he goes quack, say quack, say quack, say quack. Now keep it going, and the guy's just going quack, quack, quack. He just out of nowhere gets bread and starts pelting this man saying quack in this amazing thing. It was absolutely it was one of the funniest. It was so funny. So stuff like that. He was absolutely brilliant. And so there was there was lots of his musical numbers. Steve
This
Brown's
is all
musical
during a
numbers.
memorial service, I'd like to remind everyone.
Yeah, I don't want to stress that it was a look, but it was like a retrospective of his
Yeah,
work. It really was. It didn't have
yeah,
like
yeah,
a somber vibe that much at all. But the lineup, you had Ian Coleshaw, that impressionist.
Yeah.
Then Rory Bremner.
No,
Do you know who Rory Bremner is? Have you heard that name?
I might have.
Yeah. And then out of nowhere, Grayson Perry runs on and does a little number.
What?
And then Stuart Lee comes out
Fucking hell.
and does just absolutely just specific Stuart Lee-esque routine.
Yeah.
Like it looked like it was telling like a sincere story, and it turns into just like a very classic Stuart Lee thing, written just for that.
Just for this, yeah. Wow.
And he said at the end, yeah, that was the first time that worked. Implying he'd done this specific Steve Brown routine all around the country. And then Steve Coogan came out and did Alan Partridge, did this song that he did with Bjork about a short-term affair with my au pair. Yeah. So you got to see that live.
Jesus Christ.
And then, Alfie hosted, and there's a couple of musical numbers. But yeah, it was absolutely fucking... I was just blown away. It was insane.
It's like a variety show for the death of the person.
And I had no idea that I was going to watch that night.
Yeah.
I just thought I was going to be standing around and learn. And it was just more like a celebration of that generation of comics as well. You saw that whole like... It was basically all of our parents' generation. A lot of the kind of stars from that.
Yeah.
All out in force. And I guess that is, if you die early, you do get the best show.
Yeah, because there's enough people still alive to participate in it.
Yeah, because it was a tragic and far too soon death.
Yeah.
But I guess the benefit is the memorial concert is banging.
Is a big one, yeah.
Yeah, because if you live till like 95, then it's like your pals just don't have the...
Yeah, Coogan's not got it anymore. Harry Hill's on the decline, if that's possible for what it sounds like, this kind of comedic genius. I've embarrassed myself a few times recently.
Yeah.
I went to go and see a play. It's not a good start already. I went to go see a play. My friend's friend was in it, who she knows from drama school. The play was not to my liking particularly. It was very what you'd expect from a devised piece of people who've just come from drama school.
I mean, plays are already bad, so when they're done badly, I feel...
Yeah, I mean,
plays are bad.
I don't always agree that good plays are bad, but when plays are bad, plays are pretty bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like throw a dart at a dartboard with different classic themes for drama school women to tackle, and they were all in there.
What? Periods?
Yep. That was actually what it was called.
Bullying.
Yeah, there was some bullying.
Yeah.
Well, there was bullying, rape,
Christ.
lesbianism, and...
Christ.
Yeah.
That's like the book I'm reading.
How far are you through that?
I haven't read it since we last talked.
I knew that would be the end. It happens anyway where you'll just about get through one book, and then for the second one, you're nowhere near as excited. You feel like you've done your quota for the year. I knew you were never going to make it back on it.
No, I'll come back to it.
Yeah, but I just don't... I think maybe
keep
change
asking.
books.
No, it's a good book. It's a good book. I'm learning a lot. It's good. It's good.
Well, you learnt a lot
Yeah.
a month ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't learned anything since.
But anyway, so we were hanging out with the cast after, and it was kind of a tough sell anyway, because they all knew each other. They all came from drama school. So there was a lot of talk. And I didn't, obviously saying congratulations, I'm not a moron. Just because I didn't enjoy the play doesn't mean I need to bring that energy there. But there was a lot of talking, all of them. It was hard to, assert my presence into
Your dominance.
my dominance as the only man there. Listen to me, ladies. They weren't listening. But no, because it got to the point where I was just standing with a beer, just listening for like 10, 15 minutes.
And it's like, I've already sat through an hour and a half
And now I've
fucking
got
listening
the
to you. Now I feel it's my turn for you to listen
I've got something.
to me.
I've got some thoughts about the fucking play. No, but I was standing there and I was like, "This fine," because they were talking about drama that had happened at drama school. So there was teachers. Hold on,
That's what it says in the tin.
no. Well, wait. You're stepping on it. You're stepping on it.
No.
You're stepping on it. So there was like things with the teacher, classic stuff, teacher and a pupil, but not like a paedophile. The drama school is, a bit older. But they were talking about different teachers and different classmates who had gone, and it was very much a gossip catch-up session between friends, and I was the only person who wasn't a friend.
Didn't know anyone they were talking about.
Not a clue, and they were trying to catch me up, and I was just kind of half nodding, but I wasn't. They were only doing it very briefly for politeness.
Yeah.
So I was there nodding and thinking, well, I've got to do something here. I've got to come in with a dazzle at least. Particularly, the longer the silence goes on, the better my line has to be when I come in. So they were talking about all this gossip and stuff that happened from drama school, and then there was a lull in the conversation.
Sure.
And I thought, there it is. This is my time. I'm going to summarize their entire 15-minute conversation with a punchline that they didn't even know that they needed. So my plan was to say, well, you can't spell drama school without a bit of drama. Not my best, but still something.
It's still a bit
It would
of
have
drama.
killed if that crowd.
But it also is not the right way of saying
Still
that.
works.
You can't spell drama school without spelling drama.
No,
it's not
well,
without
that's
a
shit.
bit of drama.
No, well, what's
You
funnier?
can't spell drama school without a bit of drama.
Yeah, that's fun. That works.
Technically doesn't work.
Yeah,
the
it
same
does,
way.
because drama school, it's only a bit of the word. It still works, technically.
Without a bit, yeah.
What do you want to say? You can't spell drama school without spelling drama. That would have gone down like a lead balloon, you fucking moron. So, you can't spell, and it would have killed. Full stop. There were a drama school crowd, the vibes were high. The plan was, I'm going to come in, that's going to be my big moment.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, you can't spell drama school without a bit of drama.
How long have you
instead,
had that in the bank?
Instead, I went, well, ladies, you can't smell drama. Oh, forget it. And just really went, forget it. And then I just walked to the toilet. Just went and sat in the toilet for a bit. It was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever done. Hadn't said anything for 15 minutes and just went, well, ladies, you can't smell drama. Oh, fuck. Fuck.
So they've just been talking about gossip and drama.
Yeah.
This
This
man-
guy has been saying nothing.
And he goes, well, ladies, you can't smell drama. Goodbye.
And it was genuinely, they were so awkward that they didn't even bother to like engage with it because they didn't know me enough. I didn't cope with it well at all because I was already a bit jaded from the play and the full-on conversation.
And they were all the cast of the play, right?
Yeah, two of them, I think. Or maybe even one. But they'd all known each other, etc. So I was already a bit jaded from that, and then I just couldn't even be bothered to explain what had just happened.
Did
I
you
was like,
congratulate them on the play?
yeah, of course you got it.
You got it.
You got it.
Some people, yeah, I'm the biggest. I'll tell people. I'll tell anyone that it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Always, absolutely.
I can't do too much. I'm going to go, oh, it was really good. You were
brilliant. I say absolutely.
You were really good. Astonishing.
Clearly bombed.
Astonishing.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. Wow.
But then I don't know. I've also had it's been a couple of embarrassing moments for me. It was after a long day of something, and I remember my hair being a bit fucking mental. I was out of it and just a bit tired.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling a bit self-conscious. I was like, I just want to.
I need to spend more on haircuts.
I need to spend even more on my haircuts. That's the conclusion I came to. No, I was at Tube Station, just feeling a bit self-conscious.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to, you just want to get off the tube. You want to get home, put a candle on, listen to some Bublé, but I couldn't because I had to do the journey. And then I was kind of slung up against a wall with my AirPods in. And then a girl comes over and goes, mouth something. And I go, well, I took my headphones off. She goes, you're really funny. So she clearly recognized me for something. But in my self-conscious, whatever state, I just went, why? And then she was like, your podcast is good. She was like, oh my, sorry. It's the best answer I've ever done to have recognized. You're really funny. Why? Like genuinely,
Funny
I was
how?
pissed off. I was like, why?
You're like Joe Pesci in Goodfellas.
Yeah. Why? What? It was like, what the fuck are you? Oh God, shit. Sorry. So that was in the space of a couple of weeks.
Did you go red? Did you go red for both? Because you're a big...
I'm a big red guy.
Yeah, Andrew, when he gets embarrassed, goes like a cartoon drawing of an embarrassed person.
Yeah. Got very active blood vessels. What's the fucking evolutionary purpose of that? Pisses me off.
Well, maybe you're the Cohen survived so long because they got
Our abilities to convey embarrassment.
Well, maybe like I imagine it's like predators in the wild.
A tiger jumps out of me. I blow up like a balloon, and they're like, "We'll leave this one. This guy's a mess."
Well, I guess going red it sort of implies poisonous, maybe less. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe it seems like less. This one seems a bit like I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's a. I'm
This
not
guy
sure
has
if
a real
it's
cringe
poison
reflex.
thing. Yeah, I don't know. It must.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of it? I hate how it happens. It happens too often. I think I've got incredibly reactive, like my goosebumps.
Goosebumps is
Goosebumps,
Something's
because
going on.
it's almost getting worse, the quantity of goosebumps that I have, and then getting red at the same time. It's like I frequently am red and have goosebumps. Some psychologists believe blushing is a defense mechanism that helps people avoid conflict.
That is interesting. That is kind of what we were saying. It's not as ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, not with tigers, with other humans.
Yeah.
Maybe it makes someone feel a bit sorry for you.
Yeah, but I guess you have to establish that that's what that means.
I'm not
right?
exactly loving my genetics. I'm this fucking bitch. This bitch in the savannah.
A long line of bitches.
Yeah, a long line of Kerwin bitches. There's only there's only one more leg of fucking deer, and I'm just like, well, we should fight. I'll just have it. Oh, we can't hit we can't hit that. Look at him.
I guess it makes.
We can't hit that tomato.
I tell you what, what it is. It makes you look more like a baby, so it's cuter, and we have like the natural response for like the red rosy cheeks of a baby. They look cute. Don't eat the baby.
Don't eat the
That's
baby.
why we find babies so cute, is so we don't eat them or kill them.
Now
That's true. That's true.
What you're saying is essentially true, but the way you're saying it is far too dramatic. Babies aren't cute, so we don't not eat them.
Sort of.
They're to elicit care.
Illicit care, fine.
Not eat. Again, you were right with
Yeah,
what you were
sort
saying
of.
earlier, but you were talking about predators and tigers, where it's about human conflict.
Yeah.
Babies, clip it. Babies are cute so that we don't eat or hurt them.
Yeah. Oh, that's sort of. Yeah.
No, that's 100%. So we want to look after them.
Yeah.
There's going to be that kind of instinct anyway, but there's, we've learned to
I think
see them as
we've said it the wrong, which is a lot of any gold we get on this podcast. It's normally us touching on something true really badly.
Really
I think
poorly.
kind of everything we've been saying is actually kind of spot on for the last 7 minutes. It's quite rare.
Oh, I was going to say 2 days. I don't know what that means.
Any other embarrassing moments?
No, kind of.
We can have blush corner with that.
You're going to blush corner. Oh, big red face.
Yeah. So, my flatmate and our good friend Matt. Do you want to explain everything you sort of know about Matt's injury?
I thought you were going to say Matt, and I was kind of excited to do that.
Can you explain what you know about Matt's injury?
So our friend Matt was in a football accident.
Yeah.
He went in for a slide tackle, or was slide tackled. Slide tackled, I presume.
No, he just went,
He went in for a slide
50-50.
50-50, went for a ball, and injured his hamstring severely. Probably the thing is he went to A&E with you, and then the doctors were like, they didn't immediately know what it was. He needed to go for an X-ray and stuff, but it was either going to be a tear. He might have torn his ACL.
Yeah.
Or just done his hamstring. And then he went to the doctors and then X-ray, and then he's still waiting on the results for that.
He went to the X-ray and they said he tore his ACL.
He's tore his ACL, and then they booked him in for a doctor's appointment that was going to happen in, I think, like 7 weeks' time, which is a long time to be hobbling about. And then they accidentally put in the date on the appointment for 2025.
Yeah.
So that when he rang up, they were like, "Oh, you're booked in for 2025." And I went, well, that's a mistake. And then he said to cancel that appointment and rebook another one. They didn't rebook another one. They just cancelled his because they said they had to mass cancel because it's so fucked at the moment. That's all I know.
He also has identified as an ACL sufferer for a while as well.
Has he?
Well, he said that since he's known he's torn his ACL, he's found this whole community of people who have torn their ACLs. Has he not told you about this? So like people just, because he's got he had the I don't know what it's called. Brace on his knee. Lots of people come up and said ACL. That happened to me too. It seems the most common injury. It's seemingly five-a-side, basically.
It's because it's so severe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If I see someone with a green stick fracture in their wrist, I'm not going to go up and be like, I've been there.
So BB's brother tore his ACL, was out for 6 months.
Yeah.
My sister's now husband tore his ACL, was out for a similar amount of time. And it does seem this real community that he's found. It's like unlocking players in a game who you can now speak to.
Yeah.
Where they all have this, and there's like a real community and brethren. So he went to
online or in person?
So he's at the pub. Someone says ACL. That happened to me. Yeah,
Do you want to go for a drink?
Sort of. Yeah, sort of. When he went out to France recently. French people like happened to me. So he and he's not been making a big deal out of it.
I don't actually think he has.
I mean, okay,
you live with him now. The amount that he was, because you were gone in Edinburgh when it was kind of at its worst, and he was still just hobbling about, unable to do anything. So I'm not sure how bad. But in fairness, I then hadn't seen him for like a month, and then popped into the kitchen. I said, I've got to go, but how are you doing? And then proceeded to talk to me for 5 minutes while I was about his ACL while I was trying to get out the door.
Just went to the doctors. There's sort of nothing wrong with his leg.
No.
It's definitely not a torn ACL. He probably needs a tiny bit of physio, but it's just like a very, very
Well, he
minor
was
touch.
banging on about surgery. There's nothing wrong with
No,
it.
it's fine. He probably needs to do a tiny bit of physio. It's absolutely fine.
This is really astonishing news.
So obviously there was a problem when it happened, but it was like, yeah, it was just
He's
needed
just
a tiny,
pulled it,
was
hasn't
like
he?
he pulled it, and it just needed a little bit of healing. I mean, he
He
has
was
been
limping around like no one's business. Well,
It really made me laugh. I
gonna
mean, it's a lot about the NHS's fault, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it is a lot placebo as well, because I think he's felt pretty fine on his leg, but he has been constantly saying it's really weird. Like if we ever smoke a joint together, he'll be like, it's really weird when I high. I really like notice my knee. I just feel it's like I really focus on it, like hyper.
So it's psychosomatic.
I think a lot of it is actually, and he's like, I'm still not ready to cycle because it hurts a bit. Like, to be fair, it's feeling a lot better, but I still I don't want to push it too much. But yeah, the doctor's like, absolutely fine.
This
But
is very
it's-
confusing.
Yeah.
Because he's had, in fairness, he has been passed around to several different medical professionals who have all given a different opinion.
Yeah.
And it is also very Matt for him to actually have his ACL torn and for a doctor to just say, no, you're fine. And then he'll have a lifelong injury and not say anything more about it. That's also a quite real possibility.
I mean,
But it must have just healed itself. And if it's healed itself, it's not a torn ACL.
Yes.
Right.
I think it's...
The NHS is a disaster.
The NHS
right
is an
now.
absolute...
Yeah.
The main takeaway is
Yeah.
the NHS, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
And
no.
it's like, he like arrived even today and like
There's something almost
the
great.
guy was 20 minutes late because he was giving like a seminar.
Yeah.
Apparently Matt could like see him just talking to loads of other guys while he's waiting for him to say, oh yeah.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
Yeah. Was it...
Is he like the ACL
potentially-
specialist?
It potentially was the same doctor who told him he had a torn ACL.
Who sold what?
It was potentially the same.
Oh,
it potentially,
who
I think it
told
might
him?
have been the same guy. And
Maybe he's
Matt
just-
said he wasn't that embarrassed.
Maybe medical science has just drastically changed in the last 8 weeks.
Well, maybe he's a case study.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a
Maybe that's what he was giving the lecture on. It's astonishing the change that we've seen. But one thing I think about this story is
Yeah.
I quite like it, even when it's something sad, when you see the news come into your immediate reality. I think it places me in often you read the news, things are quite inaccessible. You know,
Fine.
that happened over there. This is going to happen, which will affect that. It was like, all right, I don't see it all the time.
It's like immersive theatre.
Exactly. What? Yeah. This. Yeah. Well, wait. What is?
Well, when
The news.
when the news happens to you.
Yeah. Well,
it's
no.
like-
Then it's a bit like
It's like watching something on telly, and then there's like a.
I'm like, oh yeah, what that is happening. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like, with the mad NHS wait times, etc., and then talking to Matt and seeing how fucked it actually is, I was a bit like, this is quite nice.
Yeah, I agree.
Like when there's problems with the trains and you try and get on a train and, there's problems. I'm like,
Yeah.
I read about that.
When-
I feel like I'm the star of the show.
When you're messaging Hugh Edwards and he says, you got any kiddie porn?
And
it's
he
like,
says, yeah. And he's like,
It's good. I'm meeting the guy from the show.
that makes
That's
sense.
so you.
I read about that on the news.
It's like meeting, Matthew Perry, rest in peace.
Yeah.
And him being like, could I be any more?
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, that's a very odd reference.
Really odd. I said, can I be any more dead as well?
Yeah, that was a really weird way to
Really
go
weird.
with it.
We roll.
Yeah, we do. But no, I think one, it's just nice to feel part of something that's real
Something bigger than yourself.
and something bigger than yourself.
And something bigger than yourself. Is
And
the
also
NHS
part
is
of
shit.
it is like, you read the news so often and now with all the bloody news, you're like, what's true? What isn't? So it's
Yeah.
nice having some physical proof. It was like, well, I'm not exactly, I know I'm a loose conspiracy theorist, but I wasn't actually saying the NHS waiting times are perfect. The media are lying. But it's nice to know that at least there's some truth there. So that's what my
Well,
main...
with the NHS, it's like, what's still amazing about the system is like, going to A&E, even if it's long waiting times, like not having to pay a dime,
Yeah.
it's still kind of what
Yeah,
you prefer
yeah.
because you can just get absolutely cunted for,
And we try.
yeah. But then this kind of stuff is when it is the appointments actually.
Yeah.
I think are the real fucker.
The old GP.
And just it's amazing how they just all have different. And I guess it's like just having a distrust in doctors where it is like for some reason I guess it's now realizing you're people just doing a job. Sometimes we're not the best at our jobs.
Whoa.
Sometimes these some episodes are better than others.
We have never had a bad episode of Boys Gone Wild.
Because it's
Find me a bad episode.
we're serving it up, week after week,
Yeah,
and that's what a doctor's like.
Yeah.
Every day you're stepping up to the plate. Sometimes you don't deliver.
It's
I
true.
guess in my head you just kind of trust the doctor.
The stakes are slightly different between a doctor and us.
Yeah.
I think you've got to probably rock up with your best game a bit more importantly than us. They've also had slightly more training and education than.
I mean, I went to the doctor with BB because she gets very scared about things going up her nose. She had to have a camera up her nose.
Wait, right. So that's not why she booked the appointment. Doctor, I'm scared of things being put up my nose.
No, she annoyingly had to have something put up her nose and was very scared.
That's a
about
nightmare. I feel that. Fuck anything going up the schnoz.
Have you ever had anything up the schnoz?
No. Well,
So you needed a camera to go there to check her sinuses, right? And
Yeah.
so I came along with her because she gets really scared, and I didn't know just how scared she. So she had a full
Panic attack.
basically panic attack, and it's because the camera it does come out. It does look like a creature from Alien.
Yeah.
It's like this big thing with this long waving arm, but
Does she get anaesthetic in there, or is it just straight wham bam? Thank you, man.
straight. Well, it basically would feel like a
put
COVID. It
numbing
would feel
cream?
like a COVID swab going.
Yeah, I
a bit
didn't
further.
like those. They
didn't like
made me
it either.
sneeze.
I didn't like
Did
it
they make
either.
you sneeze?
It was quite funny, because when it was up there, and I mean, she was she was screaming, and her arms and legs were like off the ground.
Did you video it?
No, obviously it was quite serious in the moment, but I mean, I did actually start laughing a little bit because it looks like a scene from Alien. When the things kind of because it's like you feel they shove something in her nose, and it's like sort of like a suffragette. And that.
I wasn't expecting the flaring of the legs and.
It was seeing firsthand, which probably should be more disturbing than funny. Just pure panic.
Yeah.
Like unadulterated. I'm gonna scream as loud as possible.
Especially in a controlled environment where
Which
there is
I know
nothing to
safe.
actually fear.
Yeah, I know safe. I know it's much more
Yeah,
of
yeah.
a psychological.
Then you can enjoy yourself.
It's quite, just not. But it was just pure like.
Yeah.
She hadn't. It was so in the moment. She's not thinking about anything else. She's just screaming.
You wanted to bring up Ratatouille.
Yes, so I watched Ratatouille this Sunday, and I hadn't watched it in about 10 years. Probably about 10 years. And it is a perfect film.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
It's an absolute masterpiece.
Yeah.
From start, just like how to tell like a accessible story. It hits all of the notes of like a by the book perfect story.
Yeah.
The plates it spins, they all come together in a magical way. The conflict isn't stressful, which is a big thing.
I know that's a big thing for you.
But I think watching it with adult eyes, I guess you start to really see just how mad. I guess as a kid you don't think about the premise so much, but I think watching it with adult eyes, seeing just how insane the premise is, and like the amount of jumps they make. I'm not saying that you should apply that logic.
Sounds like you are.
No, obviously it's a kid's film.
So is your point Ratatouille's not realistic?
Yeah. I just feel like that wouldn't happen. I think it's amazing just how good the film is that they get away with so many jumps. I feel like a lot of people make... Because a lot of problems are when people make jumps and it just doesn't make any sense, and that does hold a lot of films.
Talk me through the jumps.
Well, you've got... obviously, you've got the rat pulling the hair and that movie.
Well, that's the last final jump, really. Is that what are the other jumps?
The other jumps are, I guess that the rat's that good at cooking.
Yeah,
that's a big jump.
Yeah.
I think also like this is not a jump. This is just more of a flaw. Is that like I have a lot of sympathy. I have a lot of sympathy for the head chef. This is the
weirdest analysis of Ratatouille.
The big villain guy, right?
Gusteau's.
Yeah,
right hand man.
Because he just doesn't want rats in his kitchen.
No, that's not true.
Is it not?
You've watched this more recently than me. No, Linguini is the rightful heir to Gustav's throne.
Yeah.
Gustavo's throne. Gustav?
Yeah.
And he's trying to, when Linguini arrives, he then tries to basically get him out so that he can take the throne. Because Linguini comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. And
so he is an evil man.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fight against nepotism. And it's a guy who clearly can't cook. I mean, he was right all along that this guy can't cook.
Well, no, yeah. And weirdly, it actually goes against the whole point of the film that anyone can cook because Linguini can't cook.
No.
And no matter how much Linguini tries,
A
he
magic
can't
rat
cook.
can cook, right?
Well, I don't think. Well, no. I'll tell you why that's not.
Yeah.
No, it still works because it's not everyone can cook. It's anyone can cook.
Yeah. It's true.
So,
And then what you actually, which is a really nice little flutter at the end, is when he, out of nowhere, Linguini, there's that scene when all the rats come and help make the final dish because all the restaurant staff have left.
yeah.
And you've just got like a pack of rats all making this amazing thing. And then Linguini says, I'm going to be the waiter because they've got no waiters.
And that's his calling in life.
And then,
that's when he finds
he's the
it.
greatest waiter in the world.
The greatest waiter in the world. Which is odd because Linguini's arc is interesting. Because...
Does he not look a bit like Matt? Sorry to bring him up again.
Yes, he does look a bit like that.
We're talking about the villain in Ratatouille, right? I do feel from his perspective, I get that it's kind of illegal, not that the rightful heir is Linguini. But he rightfully has a suspicion that this guy can't cook. And or he's being controlled by a rat. And I do feel, do you know what I mean?
He doesn't think he's being controlled
he does,
by a
'cause he
rat.
keeps
Yeah,
seeing
no,
the rat.
Yeah, but not
Yeah.
initially.
Yeah.
He makes a decision to...
He knew there was something
Linguini.
fishy going on, and he was
Yeah.
right. There was something fishy going on. If you're being controlled by a rat, that's fishy as fuck, right?
He doesn't know that immediately. He becomes suspicious that Linguini is being controlled by a rat slightly later on, before we know that he's trying to get Linguini out.
He was nasty to Linguini immediately, but that's kitchen, that
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, you should watch.
And I do feel like, one, this is a nepotistic kid who he thinks can't cook, and he's right, or it's being controlled by a rat, and I think that's really unhygienic. And I do think you need to have some respect for someone who wants to protect the hygiene of a restaurant.
Now,
I don't think you should have a rat, even if they can cook.
I'll reply to both. Point A.
I think it's just not hygienic. I don't think it'll ever be hygienic to have a rat running a kitchen.
It's really hard to talk to you about this. We're having a very strange conversation about... when you said Ratatouille, I never imagined this is what we'd be talking about. So the point is that the head chef decides that he's going to get rid of Linguini before he knows about the rat, okay?
Yeah.
So we can move that one aside for now. The other point is Gusteau clearly didn't want his sous chef to run the restaurant. He gave it to Linguini.
Yes.
So this suggests that there's something nefarious going on with the head chef anyway.
Well, so how's Gusteau this genius when he gives it immediately to a 19-year-old who can't fucking cook for shit out of nowhere?
Because just owning the restaurant doesn't mean he had to be head chef. So Linguini, if the head chef was nice enough to Linguini, Linguini would have kept it on.
I guess so.
But
So you're
he was
saying
a
it's
bad
more
guy.
like the business side.
No! Oh my God, you've forgotten everything. I just remembered. No. What the head chef wanted to do is turn Gusteau's food into microwave meals.
Yeah.
He was a bad man. To be fair, Gusteau has the problem because in the will he should have been like, the restaurant cannot be sold or given to that guy.
Yeah.
But he wasn't explicit enough.
And also, as soon as Linguini takes over the restaurant, because of the health violations of a million rats, it does close immediately.
It did.
Yeah.
But then it reopened.
Well, he starts a new one, right?
Yeah, the rat restaurant.
Yeah. Which is fair enough. It's your right to do. I just feel
also-
I wouldn't mind seeing the story of the villain, because I imagine it seemed like, I feel he's worked his way up to the top, right? Through blood, sweat and tears, through the Parisian cooking scene. And I just think a little bit more empathy for a guy who has really worked tooth and nail to get where he is, for judging this nepotistic 19-year-old who doesn't know a fucking thing about cooking coming in and trying to take over the restaurant. I think just a little bit. I got that on second view, which I didn't get as a child.
I feel like you missed loads of bits in the film. At no point does Linguini kick the doors down and said, "This is mine now." He's awkward all the time. He's like apologizing for basically being the heir to the restaurant for the whole time. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just there to learn the ropes so he can get a job. But no, it's not. Linguini doesn't even. I swear, Linguini doesn't know that he's the heir to the restaurant.
He doesn't.
So how he's not coming stomping in?
But I'm saying I'm understanding why he doesn't want to tell him.
Yeah, I can
It's
understand.
a fight against the system, which is, there's a lot of nepotism, and I feel like
But it's bad to not tell him though.
yes, but
Right.
I'm giving empathy to this character.
If this, and I can see the empathy initially, but as I say, he could have maintained his position as head chef. It was just Linguini was going to own the business, but the guy wanted money. He wanted to sell out Gusteau's Cooking to put it in ready meals and to do I think it was just microwave meals or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to do. That is evil. That's an evil man. Now, let's talk about more about the inaccuracies that you're plagued with. With what other Disney films have you got a problem with in terms of it being a jump? Because, I mean, I can't think of a Disney film.
I haven't watched the recent Disney film. I think Ratatouille is... I guess whenever I rewatch Disney films, I don't normally get hit by that. And by the way, I think Ratatouille is one of the greatest films ever made. This is not at all a question. I think it's a perfect film.
Yeah.
It made me laugh. A lot of the plot points really made me laugh because I was like, it shows the skill you have as storytellers that you can get away with some of these,
Yeah, because in other, if it was written a lot worse, that would be like, well, that
this is like,
you can't.
What are we doing?
They're really just trying to get from point A to point B. And I guess the rat can control him via his hair. It is true. That's true. Because of how well written it is, they do get away with a lot. But it's also because it's a fucking Disney film.
Yeah. But some of them...
the rats can talk. The rats can communicate with humans.
No, they can't.
No, they can talk. We can hear them talk to each other. They can communicate. The rats talk to each other in English.
That's fine. I don't mind that.
Good. I want to hear...
Bugs Life.
I'll keep going as to where you mind it, okay? I'll do all the jumps. The rats can communicate to each other in an English
it's an
kind of
animated
language.
film. Brilliant.
Then the rat can communicate with the human via sign.
That scene was a bit more of a struggle.
So this is where the issues are starting.
Well, it was more
because they couldn't hear. They couldn't obviously hear each other. He had squeak, 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 but they communicate via squeaks and.
Well,
signs.
it's more like it was the nod and the shaking of the head.
So what? So what do you mean?
Well, it's like the way that they communicated was that he'd ask them questions and the rat would nod or shake his head.
It's a bit like speaking to someone in a coma.
And weirdly,
with the blinks.
The film, similar to Midnight in Paris, I don't know, obviously they're both set in Paris, but they both could be viewed as like a
Sister
true...
pieces.
No, it was a truly insane person suffering from severe psychosis.
Yeah.
And that it's from their perspective, so the wrong person is the villain. In the way that I think you could read Midnight in Paris, which was actually one of my favourite films, as if you actually read it as Owen Wilson is off his fucking rocker, then suddenly Rachel McAdams' character doesn't come across as badly.
Right.
Because she's gone to a trip in Paris and her husband has completely lost his mind and is constantly saying, I'm going back in time, I'm meeting Hemingway. What are you talking about? This is fucking crazy.
This is crazy.
This is nothing like the guy I married. What the fuck is going on?
I think I've always sympathised with her.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
I think I've only watched it a couple of times.
Yeah.
But I can't remember it. But I remember not really. I was like, of course you.
Well, the whole premise of that one is that, at midnight, every night, he goes back in time.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't mind a flight of fantasy, even though it sounds like I do.
Yeah.
But I read that film, I've watched that film 7 times. And the more and more I watch it, the more I read it as a dark comedy about a man going through psychosis.
Yeah. Well, that would add up.
Yeah.
And this is what like a rat going through a
Well, no, because it's, I think
Linguini.
It's Linguini.
Yeah. Maybe Linguini's actually just a good cook, but he hasn't got the self-assurance and confidence to just be a good cook. He needs to make up a story that it's a rat doing it because he's punishing himself for childhood trauma.
I actually think Linguini has been given a lot because of the nepotism, right? And
he's not got anything yet.
No, this is all in his head, though. This is how he's reframed his reality.
Yeah.
And he's fucking it up. But then he's got this whole thing going around in his head.
He's fucking it up.
I think he's actually fucking it up in real life. But this is his framing reality.
So he's actually just been fired. And he's still out by those dumpster things outside.
He's got,
squeak, squeak,
and then they
squeak,
get the rat
squeak.
friends and
Wow. And then the restaurant's saved. And the critic likes it. So we've released the next part of the TV series sketches.
Yeah.
And we've done a lot of strange things on the streets.
Yeah.
We've done relatively risky things on the streets. For instance, I mean, the TV ones have always been slightly antisocial.
Sure.
Just because of the things we're saying. And if you just walk past it without hearing it, it's...
And how public the setting has to be and how much has to move. It's not in one place.
No, and exactly. And you can't, you're not immediately getting that it's comedy from the outset.
Yep.
But we've done stuff like even for one of the estate agents ones. I mean, there was a fairly big window when I was humping all those desks and tables and stuff.
Yes.
Which people could see into.
Yeah.
So we went for the, I was in my boxers in a park for that medieval one.
Yeah, that was a bit. That was really porn. It came out very porny.
It came out very porny. It looked like we were doing some aggressive medieval role play in the middle of a park.
Yeah.
So we've done stuff, but for me, I think this was the worst one. So there was a lot of it when I thought it was getting a bit too close to home. When we were outside council estates talking about council estates in suits, doing those
Saying
stupid
how
voices.
ugly people who live in there, yeah, and how stupid and fat they are. Yeah,
There were several moments where I felt we need to run out of here, but then it was like we were assassins going from council estate to council estate.
Luckily, they all looked identical, so it was basically just a moving set of new people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there were bits where, it's just doing any kind of this stuff in East London was one of the riskier things I thought we'd done.
Yeah.
And kind of terrifying to do.
Well, I guess when we're talking about immigration, we had that one where we were talking about immigration, and it was school pickup for a school that was mainly Asian. That was,
and there was that one where there was the Romanian one about Romanians dodging taxes, and then we stopped to let this woman go past, and she was on the phone.
Clearly Eastern European.
Eastern European. We were like, she 100% could have been Romanian.
Yeah.
And just the amount of times you'd walk past someone where it's exactly the demographic that you're, talking.
But I mean, I guess I don't see other people doing this sort of stuff. What you do see is you see a lot of influencers about. Like there was that wall outside our old place where I guess it was like a perfect white wall, so a lot of people took photos in front of it.
It's weird how that perfect white wall was like, people knew about it. How do you know about a perfect white wall? Because there was too many influencers there.
It's kind of embarrassing when you see influencers, but I guess I haven't seen anyone filming something like that.
No, but it's not. That's embarrassing. This is potentially riot inciting. This is potentially getting a fight. What should we put on this wall?
I don't know. We're talking about what we want for the mural. At the moment, I'm leaning towards sort of Studio Ghibli-esque, lake and meadow, something very calming, like the scene in Howl's Moving Castle where they go through the kind of flower fields with the lakes and the sky.
Yeah, I'd like very realistic paintings of both of our faces above each of our faces.
Yeah, like photorealistic. Yeah.
Yeah, photorealistic.
But above each other, or we're inverting it?
Above each other. I think inverting it would be horrifying.
Well, as opposed to big things of our faces, it could just be this shot again.
Oh, we take a picture?
Yeah. And it's just painted perfectly.
Oh, yeah?
So it's just...
I kind of like that. This is where... Because we could go... Go on in the comments, what do you think?
Yeah.
Comment of your ideas of what we could do with this. Welcome to the new studio. And we must remember that although times change and people pass, we must be ourselves in these new moments, because when we remain true to us, time and people and places and things can never truly change.